Hi, I'm Rick. Welcome to the Campfire. As you prepare to listen to my story, let's take a moment to get comfortable and settle in. Close your eyes. I want you to take a deep breath in. Hold it for a moment. As you slowly exhale, feel your body relax and release any tension you're holding inside. Now, imagine yourself sitting around a campfire in the middle of the night. The air around you is cool and crisp, but the warm glow of the fire keeps you cozy and safe. You can hear the sounds of nature all around you, from the rustling of the leaves, the gentle chirping of the crickets, to the crackling of the fire. As you gaze into the fire, you feel a sense of peace and tranquility wash over you. The flames dance and flicker, casting a warm and inviting glow around you. You can see the colors of the flames, from the bright oranges and yellows to the deeper reds and purples. As you watch the flames, you begin to notice the intricate patterns that they create. The flames seem to be dancing to a beautiful rhythm, moving and swaying in perfect harmony. You can feel your mind becoming calmer and more relaxed with each passing moment. As you continue to watch the fire, you start to notice the different smells that are emanating from it. The aroma of burning wood is comforting and soothing. It feels like a warm hug for your senses. You can feel yourself sinking deeper and deeper into a state of relaxation and calm. As you sit there, you begin to feel a sense of connection with the fire. You feel the energy and warmth radiating from the flames, and it feels like it's filling your body with light and positivity. You can feel your stress and anxiety melting away, leaving you feeling peaceful and centered. Take a moment to appreciate the calming energy of the fire. Allow yourself to feel grateful for its presence and the peace and tranquility it brings to your mind and your body. As you sit there lost in thought, you feel calm and relaxed. Your mind is free of any worries or distractions. The fire is a comforting presence, lulling you into a peaceful slumber. Allow yourself to drift off to sleep with the warm and comforting image of the campfire in your mind and my voice in your ears. You feel your body sinking deeper and deeper into relaxation, and your mind begins to slow down as you feel a wave of calm wash over you. Now, let's begin the story. Once upon a time, a wicked nobleman rebelled against his rightful king. He surprised the royal forces and beat them, then took the kingdom for himself. The dethroned king, who had been badly hurt in battle, was imprisoned, and he soon died. However, the king's widow, the queen, was able to escape the palace before the wicked nobleman could get to her. The queen ran with her baby daughter in her arms into the dark forest behind the palace. It was winter, and a lot of snow had covered the roads and paths. Soon the queen realized that she had no idea where she was. She walked bravely through the cold and silence all afternoon, but her heart sank as mile after mile passed with no sign of a house or shelter. But late in the afternoon, when the wild branches of the trees made it hard to see the sun's red shield, she saw a light coming from a small grove of cedar trees on the edge of a frozen lake. The queen walked toward the light and found a small thatched hut in the quiet woods. It was the home of a dwarf who lived there. The dwarf felt sorry for the queen and tried to help her, but the poor woman was so tired and weak that she died before she could tell the dwarf anything about herself or the baby she was carrying. So the little dwarf, who was a nice old man, raised the little girl like she was his own child. His brother, the dwarf king of the mountain, made her the cutest red leather shoes, and his cousins, the dwarves of the pines, made the little girl dresses from fabric woven on fairy looms. Now, when the mother brought her to the hut, the little girl was wearing a golden locket in the shape of a heart that had a diamond crown and the letter L on it. So he gave the little girl the name Lily. After 17 years, Lily was the most beautiful girl in the world. Her hair was as dark as a raven's wing. Her eyes were as blue as the sea in the middle of summer, and her skin was as fair as a rose petal. One spring morning, a yellow bird flew into the cedar grove. It had a letter in its beak, which it gave to the dwarf. After reading the letter, the dwarf told Lily, "The letter told me that the Emperor of the Elves wants me to come to the big meeting of dwarves on the Golden Mountain next year. Oh, what should we do? I can't take you with me, sweet child, because it's against the rules to bring mortals to the gathering, and I can't leave you here in this lonely wood either." In response, Lily said, "Don't worry, Father. Just give me that crystal flask with the healing water in it, and I'll go out into the world and stay there until it's time for you to come back. Maybe I'll find someone who can tell me what this locket means, or what happened to my dear mother." So he took his knotted staff and went over the hill and dale to Golden Mountain. Then Lily took the crystal flask with the healing water and bravely walked out of the woods into the big wide world. It was the middle of spring, and all the ice and snow had melted. The trees were putting out their leaves, and there were clusters of primroses along the road. A little thrush was singing in the moving, rustling heart of a big elm tree. Pretty Lily went through cities and towns, cheering up the weak and sick, and healing everyone who came to her, rich or poor, with the healing water. But she never found anyone who knew about the golden heart with the diamond crown. Now it happened that Lily was walking through a village in the middle of the Adamant Mountains one day, when a ragged old woman begged her to come to a hamlet at the top of a dangerous path. When the old woman asked for help, Lily went with her to the hamlet. There she found a beautiful young peasant girl dying of a fever in a poor hut on a poor bed. So Lily used the water of healing to touch the girl, and in an instant she got well and strong. "Dear lady," the peasant girl said, putting Lily's hand to her lips, "how sweet and kind you are. How much I owe you is great." As the girl thanked Lily, she heard a faint chirp chirp, and when she looked down, she saw a small yellow bird sitting on the hearthstone. He would hide his head under his wings and cry when he was sad. The message from the ruler of the elves had been brought by this yellow bird. "Poor little bird," Lily said as she bent down and picked him up. "Why do you cry such sad songs? Who has done you wrong?" But the bird only let out a sad little cry and put its head back between its wings. "I found him yesterday on the rocks at the top of the mountain," the mother said. "He has been hurt by someone. His wing is broken." She put the bird on the floor of the house and told Lily to watch it as it flew around, leaving a piece of its wing in the dust. Again, Lily bent down and picked up the bird. She touched the bird's hurt wing with the healing water. She had just finished when the yellow bird started singing a happy golden song and flew to the window, where it beat wildly against the glass. Then the peasant girl threw open the window, and the yellow bird flew out into the bright sun. The peasant girl said, "He is gone for good." "No, he comes back," Lily said softly as the yellow bird flew back and landed in Lily's arms. Then Lily went down the dangerous path to the high road in the valley with the peasant girl and the yellow bird, which flew ahead of her singing. When they got to the bottom of the path, the farmer's daughter cried, "Goodbye, dear Lily. May I be able to repay you someday?" Lily went back into the world, and the yellow bird went with her. Soon she came to the most beautiful land she had ever seen. It had rolling fields, small hills, and rivers with willow trees on either side. Lily didn't know it, but this nice land was part of her father's kingdom. Since her father was the last rightful king, she was really queen of this land. Now, while Lily was in the forest, the wicked nobleman who had stolen the kingdom from Lily's father had died, leaving his brother Charles in charge of the kingdom and Prince Oscar. This Charles, on the other hand, took advantage of his nephew's youth and helplessness to act like a king. He had been sitting on his stolen throne for a while without any trouble, but as Oscar grew taller and stronger every year, Charles started to worry that one day he would have to step down in favor of his nephew. When the prince turned 20, Charles would have him killed in public if he had the courage, but he was afraid of the people, so he decided to kill him in secret. He paid a cruel magician to give poor Oscar a mysterious and deadly illness. Oscar was slowly dying from this illness because no medicine could cure him or even help him feel less pain. Every morning, the cruel Charles would go to the sick room, hoping to find his nephew dead. You can be sure that his evil heart was happy when he saw the prince getting sicker and sicker. Charles had just come back from seeing the prince, who was getting sicker and sicker, when the captain of the castle guard told him that the amazing Lily had arrived in the kingdom. The king told people to bring her before him, so Lily was led before the king, walking between two soldiers and being watched by a lot of people as she crossed the courtyard. The little yellow bird sat on Lily's shoulder, and the maiden had never looked prettier or kinder. As soon as Charles saw Lily, he noticed the golden locket she was wearing around her neck. If he hadn't been so old and cunning, he would have started from his golden throne. He knew that the little gold heart with diamonds had been one of the crown jewels, so Lily must be the missing princess and rightful queen of the kingdom. What should he do? If he didn't let Lily help the prince, the people might start to suspect him and start a revolution that would throw him off the throne. If he did let Lily help the prince would definitely demand the kingdom on his 21st birthday. What was he supposed to do with Lily, whose right to the throne was stronger than even his nephew's? The king was confused and scared, so he went looking for the cruel magician who had put the spell on Oscar. The magician lived in a dark tower and fed his magical black dog with hot coals. He listened to Charles's story while stirring a big pot, and he said, "Don't worry, I'll kill both people who want the throne at the same time." Charles was happy and rubbed his hands together. I will put Lily to sleep with a spell tonight, steal the crystal flask, empty it of the water of healing, and fill it with a liquid that will kill her in 2 nights and 2 days. Then, before Lily wakes up, I'll put the flask back where it was. You will let Lily go see the prince. She'll touch him with the poisonous water, killing the prince. Then you can put Lily on trial for killing the prince and sentence her to be thrown off the cliff. This terrible plan made Charles so happy that he could have danced for joy. That same night, the magician put the poisonous water in Lily's flask and left, thinking no one had seen him. The yellow bird, on the other hand, had seen everything, so it followed the magician to find out where he hid the real water of healing. The next morning, Lily was brought to the king again. "Welcome, welcome, and welcome again, lovely maiden," Charles said in the worst way possible. "I've been hoping for a long time that you would come here, because my poor nephew, Prince Oscar, the only son of the late king, has been sick for a few months with a disease that no doctor can cure. You may be able to heal him with your healing water." Lily told the court chamberlain that she would do her best to help the prince, so he took her by the arm and led her to the prince's sick room. After him came the king and many courtiers. Oscar was sick with a fever, and his face was red from it. The poor prince was so weak that he could barely raise his head to look at his guests. When Lily first saw him, she felt very sorry for him. When Oscar first saw Lily, he fell madly in love with her. Now, as Lily bent over the prince to touch his forehead with the healing water, the yellow bird screamed and cried as if he were caught in a net. Lily took a look at the glass bottle. Nothing seemed to have changed. The water inside seemed as clean and clear as it always had been. She put the liquid on the prince's skin. Unfortunately, the poison from the magician was so bad that the prince turned white as snow and passed out on the pillows. People who had expected him to be fully healed started to whisper, and Lily, who was scared by what happened, dropped the flask, which broke into 1,000 pieces that sparkled. Charles suddenly yelled at the top of his lungs, "Grab the witch! She killed the prince!" Suddenly there was a lot of chaos. Lily was grabbed by rough hands and someone caught the yellow bird. On the bed, the prince stayed unconscious. At noon there was a trial. The doctors said that the prince was dying, so Lily was sentenced to be thrown off the cliff. When someone asked Charles about the yellow bird, he laughed and told the cook to twist the bird's neck and throw it to a cat. So Lily was taken quickly to a dark room and put in chains. The yellow bird was taken to the kitchen of the castle and given to the cook. The cook told one of his helpers, "Here, you wring its neck while I go call the cat." By a stroke of luck, the girl Lily had saved turned out to be the cook's helper. This girl saw the yellow bird, but instead of wringing its neck, she opened the window and let it fly away. The yellow bird flew to the magician's room and landed at the window. The magician was in the room, stirring the big pot. The bird flew to Prince Oscar's window and saw that he was still unconscious. After an hour, the castle bell started to ring, and a sad procession was seen walking from the castle to the scary cliff where witches and sorcerers who had been found guilty were thrown. First came a group of soldiers, then Lily, who was tied down with chains. Last came Charles, the magician, and some of his favorite people. The bell kept ringing in a sad way. It woke the prince from his sleep, and poor Oscar dragged himself to the window with his last bit of string. The procession then went right under the window, and Oscar looked to see Lily's eyes. "Stop, stop," said the poor prince in a panic. "I forbid." In an instant, he passed out and fell to the floor. The parade kept going. In the meantime, the yellow bird flew back to the magician's room. It wasn't there. The bird flew through the window bars with a happy cry and found the filial where the magician had put the water of healing. The bird took it in his claws and flew back to the prince's room. Oscar was still piled up by the window, and the yellow bird poured the liquid from the filial over him. The prince, who was as strong as a lion, jumped up, grabbed his sword, and ran down to save Lily. He got to the cliff just as the poor girl was about to be pushed off into space, and he dared anyone to touch her while he stood by her side. When Charles saw his precious plan fail, he went crazy with anger. "Grab them both and throw them over the edge," he yelled. So the soldiers rushed at Lily and the prince to do what their evil leader had told them to do. But as they did this, there was a flash of fire, and Lily's foster father, a little dwarf, came over to join them. "Cruel king," the dwarf yelled in a harsh voice, "and you evil, sneaky magician, your punishment is coming." Right away, the sky turned black, lightning struck, and a terrible wind began to howl. 3 huge, fierce winds blew by. The first one blew the king and the magician over the edge. The second one carried away the soldiers, and the third one carried away the courtiers. When the clouds cleared, the dwarf, Lily, and Oscar were the only ones left on the cliffside. "Lily," said the little dwarf, "the Emperor of the Elves has told me everything I need to know about your history. It's because of him that I made it back in time, with the storm right behind me. You, Lily, should be this country's queen." "Dear queen," said the honest and brave Oscar, "let me be the first of your subjects to salute you." And he knelt down in front of her and kissed her hand in a humble way. "No, prince," the young queen told her love, who was looking at her with love in his eyes. "Your father took the kingdom. If I were you, I'd take the queen." Which was a bit forward, but in those fairy tale times, no one really cared. So Oscar married Lily, and they had a happy life together. The yellow bird went to the wedding. When the ceremony was over, it sang its way into the air and happily flew back to the land of the elves.